Remember this thing? Strymon Iridium? It was everywhere. There's so many videos on it. Why you gotta buy this pedal? Is this the end of amps? Use this live. And everyone was into it. It was like the beginning of the pandemic. Remember that? Everyone was like, oh, I'm just stuck at home. I'll get, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. And then the Quad Cortex came out, and then all these other amp-in-a-box pedals came out. People loved fiddling with, like, doing, what is it called? Neural capture, like amp capture of their amps. Like, I can take all my amps and I can put it in a setting. Go to hell, Strymon Iridium. I got my new thing. How dare these people? No loyalty, no fortitude. They could not commit. And I'm here to tell you that this little thing, it's a great little box. And I'm gonna go over the reasons why you should have it, the reasons maybe why you wouldn't like it, and why I like it and why I still use it, okay? If you're a guitarist and you've been living under a rock for the last 2 years, this Strymon Iridium is 3 amps and 9 IRs in one box. And it's got knobs. And for those of you who are super old like me, knobs are good. Screens are bad. Knobs are good. You can use knobs. You can touch them. You can feel them. They feel nice. It also has little switches. You can switch between all these little tactile things that make it feel like it's worth $400 it was. Hey, I just bought this, Alex. What do I do? I'm gonna tell you what you should do. One, get some IRs that you really like. Nothing against the IRs that come with it. They don't scratch that itch that I'm looking for. I really like York Audio IRs. They sound great. They're really rich, and they sound perfect. They're exactly what my ear would want. Everyone's a little bit different though, so find the IRs, sample some. A bunch of them have like free trials, so go on Reddit if you dare. But I mean, the key is your ear is going to tell you what you like. I'll leave a link to the York Audio ones below. I don't get a commission from it. I just like them, so I'm repping them. Don't use these knobs like an amp, where you're like, oh, the treble should be here, the mid should be here. Use your ears, like, because sometimes it's not going to make sense, because this isn't an amp. So use it the way that you would want it. Sometimes you'll have the mids all the way up and the bass all the way down. It took me a long time to figure out the settings that I liked because I'm not smart, but I kept working at it, and now I feel kind of smart. Okay, so for the Fender one, I don't like the stock Fender amp as it is, because it kind of breaks up too early, and it doesn't give me that oomph that you would associate with like a Fender really sparkly, chimey amp. But if you put a boost pedal in front, like a Booster Grand or an EP Booster, it sounds like this. Right, nice and chunky, nice and full. You get that percussive sound. And then the other cool Fender sound is when you push the mids all the way up and you push the drive all the way up. It's like this overdriven Tweed kind of sound. Great kind of rockin' amp sound, right? That's a cool sound. For the Vox settings, like, I've never played, no, that's not true. I've played a Vox Live once, and I didn't get a lot of time with it, but I know what it sounds like on recordings. And so the Vox setting, the clean Vox setting is pretty cool too. I know a lot of worship guitarists use the clean Vox setting. It's like a good pedal platform setting. And if as the middle acts as a top or as a treble cut, so just be careful how you set that. But this clean setting is pretty good. Again, if you put a boost in front, it just gives it a little bit more oomph and percussion. And then if you want the drive setting, a good drive setting is with a Marshall 4x12. And this great drive sound. See, that's cool. It's very usable. It's fun. I mean, it's fun. I mean, it's a whole thing when you're playing guitar. Are you having fun? I am, always. Now the Marshall setting, they did a good job on the Marshall too. And again, just like before, if you put a boost in front, it just gives a little more oomph on it. A little more, right? And that's what you want. What? Put treble and mid all the way up, 100% up. And then you put the bass at 4. And then you put the drive like 1 or 2. It sounds like this. And that sounds awesome. Okay, let's go over some of the, not the shortcomings, but just some of the areas that the Strymon Iridium doesn't, is not going to deliver on, okay? A lot of these YouTubers, they want the perfect pedal. It's a pedal, it's a tool, and you can use it in the ways that you need to get the job done. I went over this earlier, but that Fender clean, you just got to add a boost in front. It's not my favorite. I really don't think it's not the Fender sound that I would want in my ears. But a lot of people have liked it. There's a lot of guys that have recorded with that Fender, and they've gotten great noises out of it and great sound. So, that might be my problem. Okay, it's not going to feel like an amp, but it sounds like a recorded amp, which is even better because you don't have to worry about miking. You don't have to worry about like phasing or anything of that stuff. It's just like it's there. Like it sounds great out of the box if you're tracking. To really unlock this as a live pedal, and I've seen people throw this on their live boards as like a backup, but if they're using it as their main, you really need a MIDI pedal controller to unlock, set up some settings and have, some presets going. So that's one of the downsides if you compare it to like an HX Stomp or Helix or Head Rush. You're gonna have to add that secondary piece of equipment to make sure that you unlock it, because you can't be fiddling around with stuff, especially if you're in a band where you're in a cover band and you got to go from like a Fender clean, you're playing like a Beatles song, and then you got to go to an AC/DC song, and you got to fiddle with switches, and people in the crowd are throwing like their hot dogs at you or whatever they throw. What do they throw at shows? I don't know. So who should use this in 2021? Bedroom players. All these bedroom players, I really want a 1-watt amp. Do you? Are you sure? It's not going to sound the way that you want it to sound, because when you're playing in the bedroom, you're nervous and you don't want to be loud. This is the perfect solution for that. Plug in some headphones. It's got a headphone jack in the front. You don't even need to worry about like plugging into a nice hi-fi system. Just plug in your headphones, get some nice, I hope you have some high quality ones, and let it rip. It sounds great. But put the room setting up a little bit so it doesn't sound so dry, and just let it go. Recording, cover this. If you're trying to record quickly and get lots of different guitar sounds, this thing gets the job done. It's perfect. Way quicker than using the presets in your computer. It's more fun too. The presets in your computer, you're always adjusting stuff, and then you get stuck in like this mode where you're tweaking mode, and you don't want to tweak. There's only 4 things you could change on this, right? Live, I can't comment on live, but I will say this: I would use this. I was using an Axe FX system over the summer for a bunch of shows with the band, and I hated it. I couldn't stand it. It didn't feel real. It didn't sound real. I would use this any day over an Axe, and I'm assuming like a Kemper or all these other live systems. And then the last cool thing you can do is it's like a IR box too, a stand-in IR box. You put the 9 that you want, and then you can put an Origin Effects amp, pedal, or something like that in the front. This is the Revival Trem. Or throw the Revival drive on top of it. Rock and roll, please. Right? That sounds cool. You can find a lot of ways to use this thing. Normally you'd have to buy a separate IR loader, but this can even just function as, that alone makes this thing, I think, very valuable on top of the other things. So what's the lesson here? Should you buy it? I did. I love it. I will not leave a pedal behind. Everyone's moved on from the Iridium, but not me, because I know the meaning of commitment. In fact, I still have the same guitar pedal from 8th grade, the first guitar pedal that I ever bought, the Parametric EQ. I used it at a show at the community center, and a mother of one of my bandmates came up to tell me, "Your guitar sounds like it's broken," and then she left. Whoa. Thanks again for watching, guys. My name's Alex. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it. It'd mean a lot to me. I know I said every week for these videos. Who knows, man? I'm going to do the best I can, and